Good morning, everyone. It's just 10 o'clock, so we're starting on time. Welcome to all of you. And of course, the stragglers won't hear this welcome, but they're welcome to. They can come in anytime. This morning, it is Saturday, September 7th. And this is Somatics for You, and I'm Susan Koenig. I'm the host, but the teacher, my wonderful guest teacher, is Lisa Sack, and I'm going to turn the class over to her very shortly. She is going to introduce herself and introduce the class, and then she'll give the class, and then at the end of the class, I'll come back in. I'll stop the recording, and those of you that want to stay for our discussion, which is often very, very rich and informative, are welcome to stay. The discussion will not be recorded. And so everybody is automatically muted already. Okay, I think that's all I have to do right now. Okay, I am going to turn the class over to Lisa Sack, make a few adjustments on, we're on Isaiah and there's Isaiah, we're on two computers. So I'm going to make some adjustments, and give me just 1 second, Lisa, oh, well, go ahead, Lisa. By the time I do this, you'll be on.
Hi, everybody. Welcome and good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are across the country. We've got people from all over the place. Can I just ask before we get started, is there anybody on the online today for whom this is a completely new practice? So everybody's had some exposure to Somatics. I know many of you are probably longtime students of Susan's. So, okay, let me introduce myself first. So I'm here in Brooklyn, New York, where I am a Somatic educator, and I'm also a yoga therapist, as well as an Ayurvedic health counselor. And a lot of my work is really doing Somatics now, because I find it to be just such a beautiful practice and a really great way for people to learn to slow down and to get much more in contact with and aware of what's happening in their somas. So since all of you are familiar with the practice, let me start by saying that, typically in this work, our approach is to work from our somatic center and to work with our somatic center. And we define our somatic center as the muscles and connective tissue that link our rib cage and our pelvis. And that's because even when we have issues in our extremities, whether it's our shoulders or our wrists or our feet, our knees, often those restrictions have something to do with the patterns of contraction that are in the center of our body. But that being said, there's also a lot of value to working from our extremities into our center to kind of clarify the movements that we do, especially movements that are part of our activities of daily living, and to have a different way of experiencing how those movements connect to our center. So our focus today is actually going to be working on the movements that we do with our shoulder girdle, and looking at how those movements actually connect into our center, ripple through our center, and how our whole soma can really support the movements that we do with our shoulder if we want to kind of move with ease. Okay, so what I'd like to do to begin is let me share a picture, as I always say, and thank you again to Susan for inviting me to teach. Susan's always showed me the value of pictures, because pictures paint really 1,000 words. So can everybody see my screen? Just give me a little wave if you can see this picture of the bones of the rib cage. Great. Okay. So let's take a look at what we're talking about and define our terms when we talk about our shoulder girdle. And while we do this, you are welcome to palpate, meaning to kind of feel along on your own soma as we look at this picture. So if you take your hand, one of your hands, and you bring it right to the notch at the top of your breastbone, and then you trace your fingers out across this bone right here. So this is your clavicle or your collarbone. And then if you go and you might even feel that as you get to the end of it, there's a sort of a little ledge that you feel. And then you're going to come to this joint here, which is your shoulder joint. Its fancy name is the glenohumeral joint. And just for a moment, look at the size of that joint. in this socket. And that's a very important aspect of thinking about our shoulder, is that this is a very, very large ball in a very kind of shallow socket. And what that gives us is a tremendous range of motion with our shoulders. But unfortunately, it kind of comes at a price, which is to say that we don't have nearly as much stability in this joint in order to be able to have all that flexibility. But if you keep your fingers there, and then you, if you can, if it's comfortable and you can reach back, you might be able to feel, let me turn our little model around here. You might be able to feel how the top of your, what's called the acromion, goes into the spine of your shoulder blade. You can kind of feel along the back there. That's your shoulder blade in green now. And this is your scapula, okay, or your shoulder blade. So there's a couple of points that I want to make here that I think are valuable for us to think about. One is that when we think about the joints that are in this shoulder girdle, there are three. Sometimes people talk about a fourth one. This one right here, where your clavicle connects to your breastbone, is the only place where your shoulder girdle actually connects to your rib cage. All right, if you look carefully, I'm trying to swing this model down. You notice that there is no bony connection between your shoulder blade and your rib cage. Now, sometimes you'll see in anatomy books that nonetheless, we talk about this as being a scapulothoracic joint, but it's not a joint in the typical sense. But what that really describes is kind of the movements that the shoulder blade can do. Our shoulder blade can do gliding across our rib cage. So the other joints to think about, we've got this one here, at the sternum and the clavicle. There's one here at the clavicle and the acromion. And then there's this big one here. That's our glenohumeral joint, okay? So what I like what I would encourage you to begin to think about is that look at how this head of your arm bone fits into your shoulder blade. So even though we don't include our arm, our upper arm, as part of the shoulder girdle, when you move your upper arm, because it fits right into the side of your scapula, that's going to have an impact on your shoulder blade. And conversely, if you move your shoulder blade, it's going to have an impact on your arm. And so it's nice to start to think about a unified sort of relationship and an intimate connection from the inner edge of your shoulder blade through the socket at your shoulder, down your arm, and right down to your fingers. It's a very intimate connection. Just as everything else in our soma is connected, our shoulders are not separate from the rest of these structures. And that's something that we're going to be exploring today. All right, so that being said, let me come out of screen share. And before we even get started, let's just take a moment for you to explore, what do you have in range of motion when it comes to moving your shoulders? And I want to say right away that if you have an injury or you have had issues with your shoulders, please stay well within your range of comfortable motion. You can make these movements very, very small. This work is never about the movements being big. It's really much more about a kind of bringing a delicacy and an awareness to even the slightest movements that you do. So let's think about the things that we do during the course of, well, I will say I don't shower every day, but when I do shower, I need to wash under my underarms. So can you reach across your body and try to wash under one arm? And you're going to notice you've got to lift your other arm up to do that. So try that on one side. You don't have to lift your arm, but then you kind of got to really get your fingers in there. And then try it on the other side. So just notice, can you bring your other arm across your body? And again, please don't move into discomfort. So if it's uncomfortable to lift your shoulder, your elbow up, keep it low. All right. So that's something we do all the time. We need to be able to wash our hair. So can you take both arms up and put your hands on your head? Okay. And then here's another really common one. You get back from the grocery store and you've got something that you need to put in a cabinet that may be over your head, or maybe you're flying and you have to reach into the overhead compartment. So can you actually reach both of your arms up overhead. Notice if you can or can't do that. Really, again, stay within your comfortable range of motion as you do that. And then here's another one. Imagine you're in a car and you are driving, but you need to reach, you're at a red light, you're stopped, but you need to reach behind you to get something from the well of the seat on the passenger side. Can you take your arm back behind you? Does your shoulder let you do that and reach down? And then imagine that you're sitting in the passenger side. Can you do the same thing with your other side, as if you had to reach back and down into the well behind you? So these are all the different kinds of movements that we need to have some freedom in our shoulder girdle to be able to do. So with that being said, let's have everybody come on down onto your mats. Do have, again, a chair ready or something where you can sit comfortably, because we will sit for a moment at the end of our class. And then have whatever props that you need to be comfortable. So that might be support for under your head. You definitely want to have a couple of pillows, because we'll be doing some things where you'll want to rest your arm on some pillows. And if you would like me to be able to see you, then please angle your camera in such a way that I can see you when you're on the floor. And as soon as I see everybody kind of settled, we will get started. So as you come to the floor, you're going to lie down on your backs, please, if that's comfortable for you. And again, take whatever support you need. So you might want to have a bolster underneath your knees. You might want to have some support underneath your head so that the back of your head can be long. And once you're comfortably on the floor, just take a moment and let yourself settle. For some of us, it's midday already. We may have done quite a bit of activity. For others of us, we're just beginning the day. So to take a moment and let your body weight yield into the surface beneath you. And then notice how you are making contact with the floor. Feel your feet, whether your legs are straight or your knees are bent. Just notice how your lower legs and feet are weighting into the floor. And then continue to take your attention up through your legs, into your pelvis. Notice how you feel your pelvis weighted on the floor. And continue to travel your awareness up into your mid back and your upper back, and then rest your attention on your shoulder girdle. And since we're going to be doing quite a bit of movements here, let's pay particular attention to how you start. So notice, first of all, are your shoulder blades resting evenly on the floor? Do they feel different? If they feel different, how do they feel different? Maybe you can't even articulate what feels different about them, but just notice what you're sensing. Notice if one or both of your shoulders are pulling away from the floor. Notice whether one of your shoulders is higher than the other, creeping up towards your head. Maybe you feel like both of your shoulders are creeping up towards your head. And then notice, without changing anything, just notice the position of your arms. Again, thinking about this connection from your shoulder girdle all the way down to your fingers. Notice whether your arms are the same distance away from your body on your right and left side. Maybe one is closer to you, maybe one is further away. And notice how you feel the weight of your upper arm versus the weight of your forearm. Do you feel all the parts of your arm on the floor, or is one part of your arm not even making contact with the floor? And then notice the position of your hands. Are your hands positioned in the same way? Maybe both palms are facing up towards the ceiling. Maybe your palms are facing down. Maybe one hand is doing one thing and your other hand is doing something completely different. Just see how you begin. Feel your head resting against the floor, and then check your jaw. Notice if there's any clenching. Soften through your jaw. And then let your awareness come to your breath, right at the tip of your nose. Begin to follow your breath in and out of your nostrils. And then follow your breath from the beginning of your inhale to the end of your inhale. And then from the beginning of your exhale to the end of your exhale. So your attention is riding on the current of your breath. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your belly. Notice if there's anywhere where you're holding tension where you might be able to let it go. Good. So as you begin to move today, again, remember that you want to stay within your comfortable range of motion. It's not about the size of the movements. It's really about your growing awareness of what you're sensing and feeling when you do move. If you experience any discomfort, please back off, make your movements smaller. You don't even have to move. You can visualize the movement. And that in itself is going to have an effect on your brain and create muscular contraction, which you can then release. If you have had a shoulder injury, or if you're working with any kind of limitation, again, be very respectful, very tender, very delicate with your movements, and look for any habit that you may have of over efforting, trying too hard, working hard to make something happen. You do not have to work hard to make anything happen today. As we go along, I may cue movements with your breath, but if they don't work for you, please just move and breathe as you need to. The key here is not to hold your breath, but to allow your breath to continue to flow. So let's begin with a little bit of arching and flattening. If you would please bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. And as you take your breath in, let your pelvis tip towards your tailbone. You're creating a little arch in your low back, contracting those muscles. With your exhale, release your low back muscles, coming to neutral. Take your breath in when you get to neutral, and then on your exhale, engage your belly. Let your lower back begin to move towards the floor. You might feel your pubic bone and your rib cage coming together. And release with your in-breath back to neutral. And then take another round, inhaling to arch, exhaling to release your low back muscles. Once you're in your neutral starting position, taking a breath in, and then exhaling, feeling your low back move towards the floor as your abdomen contracts, and releasing the contraction of your abdomen on your next in-breath. Good. Continue doing another few rounds of arch and flatten, and let your awareness expand now. And notice what's happening in your shoulder girdle when you arch. See if you feel any shift in the way your shoulder blades are resting on the floor, the way your upper arms rest on the floor. And then the same with your flatten. So when you contract your belly, notice any shift in weightedness in your shoulder girdle. And if you don't sense anything, that is totally fine, especially if your movement is very, very small. You may not sense very much. That is perfectly okay. And then finish with a flatten, please. And come to rest. And just notice any sensation the effect of those movements. You're welcome to extend your legs if that would be nice. And then you're going to start working with one of your shoulders. So rather than work right and left, you have the choice of which shoulder is your shoulder that you want to begin with. And if you have an injury, you may want to start with the shoulder that feels like it just moves a little bit more easily, is a little bit more organized, so that as you play with these movements, your brain can learn from what you're doing and you can apply what you learn to your side two. So pick your side one shoulder and then bring your side two hands so that your hand rests on your collarbones. Your fingers might be just above your collarbone, or they might be on. You're going to have the flat of your palm is against your chest. You could take a pillow under your elbow on the side of the arm that is lifted, just so that you don't have to hold your arm up in the air. And you're going to begin with a little bit of just exploring the movement of bringing your shoulder blade up towards your head and then down towards your waist. So your shoulder blade's going to stay on the floor. And as you're ready, you can do this with your breath if you want to. You could inhale your shoulder blade up. So you're moving your arm that's long rather than your arm that's bent. So your bent hand, your hands are touching your opposite shoulder blade. And if that's not, or shoulder rather, if that's not the side that you want to start with, then you want to switch sides. So continue just for a few more rounds, gliding your shoulder blade up. Notice what you feel moving as you do this. And notice, again, it's not just your shoulder blade moving. Your whole arm is coming along. You might feel your fingers as they glide along the floor. And I see some of you have taken support under your long arm. That's a wonderful thing to do if that makes you feel more comfortable. And then finish the one that you're on. And then go ahead and switch sides. So you're going to take your side one arm and bend your elbow and bring your side one palm and fingers to your side two collarbone. Again, take any support that you need to be comfortable, and same movement. Sliding your shoulder blade on your side two side now up towards your ear, and then letting it slowly release, and then letting it slide down towards your waist. And again, as you do this, keep the movement just as small as is comfortable for you. But notice that lots of things are moving. It's not just your shoulder blade, your upper arm is coming along, your lower arm, your hand, and your fingers. So there's this very intimate connection between the parts of your shoulder girdle and your arm and hand and fingers. Good. And then again, finish the one that you're on. And then you can release your bent arm. And we'll take that now into a little bit of a pandiculation. So everybody here is familiar with what pandiculation means rather conscious contraction followed by conscious and slow release. So come back with your awareness to your side one shoulder. And you're going to work with releasing your trapezius muscle that helps you. It's one of the muscles that helps you to glide your shoulder up towards your ear. So when you're ready, take a nice breath in. As you exhale, very tiny turn of your head towards your side two side. So you're turning away from your side one shoulder. And then on your next in-breath, shrug your side one shoulder up as you tip your head back. So you're bringing your side one shoulder closer to the base of your skull, and you feel that trapezius muscle contract. And then release the tip of your chin and release your shoulder. You can keep your head turned to the side if that's comfortable for you. And let's repeat that one or two more times. So again, as you take your next breath in, tip your head back very gently as you glide your shoulder up towards the base of your skull, side one shoulder. And then let your side one shoulder slowly release as you release the tip of your head. And then one more time as you're ready, slightly turning your head towards your side two side. And then as you inhale, shrug your side one shoulder up, tip your head back ever so gently. Notice the contraction in that trapezius muscle that runs right along the top of your shoulder, and then very slowly release. Let your head come back to center and just pause for a moment. Notice what you're sensing and feeling. And then you'll explore your second side. So now you're going to turn your head towards your side one shoulder. And as you take your breath in, tip your head back and shrug your side two shoulder up towards the base of your skull. And then slowly release your side two shoulder as you release the tip of your head. You can leave your head slightly turned, or you can bring it back to center if that's more comfortable, but repeat this a couple more times, turning your head and then shrugging your side two shoulder. So your head is turning towards your side one and you're shrugging your side two shoulder up as you tip your head back, and then slowly, slowly, slowly releasing. Good. And then finish the one that you're on. Let your head come on back to center. Notice what you're sensing and feeling across the very top of your shoulder, from your neck out to your shoulder joint. And then just one time, you're going to shrug both of your shoulders up towards your ears and very gently tip your head back. It can be a tiny little movement. And then nice and slowly release the tip of your head and let both of your shoulders come back to maybe their new neutral position. Pause and take a breath. So that fancy anatomical name is shoulder elevation. Now let's work with depression. So come back to your side one shoulder. Take your breath in, and this time, as you exhale, glide your side one shoulder blade down towards your waist. And as you do that, notice what you feel contracting, and then very slowly release your side one shoulder blade back up towards your head. And you're going to repeat that movement a couple more times at your own pace. Just breathe as you need to. You're gliding your side one shoulder blade down towards your waist, noticing where you feel contraction, maybe in the side, your rib cage, where your shoulder's going down, maybe across your upper chest, slowly release. And then finish the one that you're on. And then when you're ready, bring your attention now to your side two shoulder. And again, you're going to glide your side two shoulder blade down towards your waist. And then slowly release the contracted muscles that helped you to do that along the side of your rib cage and the front of your chest. And as you repeat this pandiculation, bringing your side two shoulder blade down, just notice, is this side easier for you to organize? Do you feel like it's super easy to bring it down, or is it more difficult than on your side one? And then again, finish the one that you're on. Come to rest. And now you'll explore how these movements in your shoulders might begin to become more full body movements. So you're going to alternate bringing one of your shoulders up towards your ear as you slide your other shoulder down. So go ahead and bring your side one shoulder up towards your ear as you glide your side two shoulder down towards your waist. And then slowly release both of your shoulders back to your starting position. Now you're going to glide your side one shoulder down towards your waist as you let your side two shoulder come up towards your ear. And you can let your head move as it wants to. Then you're going to go back and forth. And as you go back and forth, gliding one of your shoulders up as the opposite shoulder glides down, start to notice what's happening in your rib cage. Maybe you can sense that when you glide your shoulder blade down, it's almost like your rib cage moves away, moves towards your other side. And then again, as you continue to just play with this alternation, making it as, small as you want to. Again, remember, if it's small, you may or may not feel a lot of sensation traveling through your soma, but look for the slightest hint of movement. You might even start to notice, if you want to extend your legs, you can extend your legs for this, that as you move from your shoulders and that movement goes into your pelvis, maybe you feel your legs beginning to slide on the floor, so that as you shorten your hip on the side where your shoulder is coming down, comes up, and your opposite leg lengthens. And then as you shorten on your other side, that leg will shorten and your opposite leg will lengthen. So just play with that 1 or 2 more times. Let your head move as it wants to. And then finish. You can finish a set if you like, going side 1 and side 2, and then come back to your new neutral, your starting position. If you need to bend your knees here, if that would be more comfortable for you, then please go ahead and bend your knees. And again, just notice now, what are you sensing and feeling? Particularly from your shoulder all the way down into your hips, maybe even all the way down into your feet. When you're ready, you're going to roll onto your side to side. And as you come and roll onto your side to side, so your side one shoulder is going to be facing up towards the ceiling. Take some support underneath your head, and you're going to want to have your pillows in front of your torso. If you don't have enough support, you could also bend your bottom elbow and let that be a support for your head. But you also want to have some pillows that you can put in front of your chest. If you're working with a bolster, that's great. Turn the bolster so that the short side faces you, so that you'll have plenty of length to work with. If you don't have a bolster handy, you can work with your arm on the floor. But ideally, you're going to take your top arm and let it come straight out from your body so that it rests on the pillow in front of you, perpendicular to your torso. Yep, you can leave a little space between your support and your chest if you like. And then bring your knees, if it's comfortable, up to 90 degrees with your feet underneath your knees, whatever position is most comfortable. So now, bringing your attention to your arm that's resting on your support, take your fingers of your top arm and move them away from your torso until you feel your shoulder blade on your top side start to move away from your spine. And then slowly return to your starting position. Now notice if your whole torso rotated with you, that's really a beautiful movement. Try on the next repetition to just find this movement in your shoulder girdle. So let your fingertips move away from you only as far as is necessary to start to feel your shoulder blade move away from your spine before you begin to rotate your rib cage. And then this time when you come back, find the opposite movement. So keeping your arms straight, let the top of your arm bone draw into your shoulder joint so that you bring your fingers back towards your chest. So you're moving your fingers, your arm, your shoulder joint, and your shoulder blade away from you. And then you're drawing your arm and your hand, your fingers in towards your chest. And notice that your shoulder blade pulls in towards your spine. So when you move your fingers away from you, your shoulder blade is gliding away. When you bring your hand and your arm and your shoulder, the head of your arm bone into your shoulder joint, feel your shoulder blade pull in towards your spine. And then finish the movement that you're on, come to your neutral position. And let's try this now as a pandiculation. So only doing the movement forward first. So as you're ready, take a nice breath in. As you exhale, reach your fingertips away from your torso And notice what muscles you could feel contracting as you do that in the front of your chest and the side of your rib cage. And then very slowly release so that you bring your shoulder back to its starting position. And then try that movement a couple of more times. So again, if you'd like to move with your breath, as you exhale, you can reach your fingertips and your arm away from you. Feel the muscles that contract to allow you to draw your shoulder blade away from your spine. And then let those muscles very slowly decontract as you bring your arm and your hand and your head of your arm bone back into their neutral position. Go one more time in this direction, please. And when you come back to your starting position, go ahead and rest. You can move your arm off your support if you like and let it rest on your side. And then when you're ready, now you'll do a pandiculation going in the opposite direction. So bringing your arm back onto your support straight out in front of your chest if you moved it down to your side. If that's not comfortable, you can actually do this movement just moving from your shoulder joint. If your arm is extended now, take a breath in. And when you exhale, now draw the head of your arm bone into the socket. Keep your arm straight. Feel the muscles on the back of your body between your shoulder blades contract and then slowly release. If your arm is down by your side, you're going to gently take your shoulder back behind you and you'll feel the same contraction between your shoulder blades. And then explore that movement, drawing the head of your arm bone back, feeling your shoulder blade glide in towards your spine, contracting the muscles between your shoulder blades, releasing. Good. One more time. Draw the head of your arm bone back. Feel your arm and your fingers follow. And then release. Good. And then you'll start to make this more of a full body movement. So for some of you, right away, as soon as you began to move your arm, you felt like you wanted to let your torso go with you. So let that happen this time. As you reach your fingertips away from you, let your rib cage roll towards the floor. Your head may want to rotate down towards your support. You might want to put a little space between your pillow and your torso to give yourself room to move. And then as you draw your arm back, this time let your elbow bend and let your bent elbow come back behind you so that you begin to open your torso up towards the ceiling, only going as far as is comfortable. And again, take care of yourself. You can always do this movement with your arm resting on your side. But as you roll your rib cage forward, you're also letting your shoulder blade pull away from your spine, combining protraction with rotation, and then retraction when your elbow comes back behind you or you take your shoulder back behind you and you let your rib cage roll open. Good. And then finish the one that you're on. And then make your way, as you're ready, onto your back. And as you make your way onto your back, find a position of comfort. Your arms can be down by your side. And notice how your side one shoulder feels now, especially compared to your side two. Is it resting on the floor any differently than when you began? Maybe yes, maybe no. And take a couple of breaths, being aware of sensation, noticing any differences between side one and side two. And then when you're ready, make your way on to now your side one side. So your side two shoulder is going to face the ceiling, and you're going to set yourself up in that straight back chair position with your pillow support in front of your torso. You can bring your knees up to 90 degrees. And then if it's comfortable, rest your arm on your bolster. If you're not comfortable with your arm straight out from your chest, you put your arm in whatever position seems to be the most comfortable for you. And if extending it isn't comfortable, you can keep your arm at your side and work with feeling this movement in your shoulder. So your brain knows where you're going. So let's go right away into letting your fingertips move away from you. Just taking the movement into your shoulder joint and girdle. Let your rib cage stay relatively still right now. And then as your fingertips come back, let the head of your arm bone come into your socket and feel your shoulder blades start to move in towards your spine. And go back and forth a few times. So as your fingertips and your arm move away from your torso, your shoulder blade pulls away. As your fingertips and your arm come into your shoulder socket, feel your shoulder blade move in towards your spine. Good. And then finish the one that you're on. And let's work with this now as a pandiculation. So just working with the forward movement now. Bring your fingertips forward so that you feel your shoulder blade glide away, and notice where you feel contraction. This is brought to you courtesy of your pec minor and your serratus muscle on your side to side. Slowly release that contraction, coming back to your neutral starting position, and then repeat that movement a couple of times, keeping your arms straight if you can. Feeling the contraction in the muscles that help you to draw your shoulder blade away from your spine. Good. Finish the one that you're on. And then pandiculate in the opposite direction. So now draw the head of your arm bone back. Your fingertips and your arm will slide back. Feel your shoulder blade draw into your spine. And then slowly release. So you are welcome to make this a more full body movement. If you really want to clarify this movement in your shoulder girdle, see if your torso can stay a little quiet just for 1 or 2 more repetitions. And then finish the one that you're on. And now go ahead and go to town. Let yourself roll forward. Let your rib cage be involved as your fingertips slide forward. Your head may want to turn down towards the floor. And then as you come out of it, this time you can let your elbow bend as your shoulder comes back behind you and your rib cage now opens more up towards the ceiling. Your head can go with you. And then go ahead and do that movement, maybe 1 or 2 more times. So as you roll forward, your arm straightens, you feel your fingertips reaching, and notice this connection from your fingertips to the inner edge of your shoulder blade as you reach forward, and then from your fingertips to the inner edge of your shoulder blade as your shoulder and your arm come back behind you. Good. And then finish the one that you're on. And when you come to completion, come and rest on your back, please. And again, take a moment to notice now how your side 2 shoulder feels. Is it making contact with the floor a little bit differently? How does it feel compared to your side 1? What do you notice through your rib cage? Take a couple of easy breaths. And then you'll take this into even more of a full body movement. So staying on your back, you can have support under your head if that would be more comfortable. Go ahead and bend your knees, please. And if it's comfortable, take your fingertips and reach them towards the ceiling in front of your chest. So your arms are straight with your fingertips reaching straight up towards the ceiling. Now notice when you do this, if that is not a comfortable position, change the angle of your arms so your fingertips can actually reach more towards your thighs if you like. And now working with both sides at the same time, let your side one shoulder come away from the floor, reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling, and feel your side two shoulder blade drop down into the floor. And then release both of your shoulder blades back to the floor. Now take your side two fingertips up towards the ceiling, feel your shoulder blade peel away, let your side one shoulder press down into the floor, and then release. Good. Now, this time, as you reach your side one fingertips and shoulder away from the floor, notice what happens to the weight in your side one foot. So as your shoulder lightens, maybe you feel a little weight go into your side one foot. And then let that shoulder blade come down into the floor. Reach your side two fingers up towards the ceiling. Your side one shoulder is going to reach down into the floor. And maybe you notice on the side where you're reaching away, do you feel your weight go down into that foot? And then as you alternate now, you can pay attention to the relationship of letting one shoulder come away from the floor and your foot on that side staying weighted and then releasing. And as your opposite shoulder comes away from the floor, feel your foot on that side stay weighted. And you might even notice that your opposite foot wants to lift away from the floor. So whichever arm and shoulder are reaching away, let your opposite foot lift away from the floor just a tiny bit. And then slowly release. And now as you bring your second arm and shoulder towards the ceiling, feel the weight in your foot on that side and let your opposite foot lighten from the floor. This is a little bit of the beginning of what happens when we walk, a kind of contralateral movement of our pelvis, our legs in opposite direction on the same side as our shoulder. And then finish the one that you're on and slowly let your arms, make it a pandiculation to bring your arms down. Bring your arms down as slowly as you can and rest. Beautiful. Take your time, breathe when you get down. Again, you're always welcome to straighten your legs or keep them bent, whatever makes you most comfortable. So you explored elevating and depressing your shoulders and protracting and retracting your shoulder blades, I should say. Now you're going to work with the head of your arm bone in your shoulder socket. So once again, come with your attention to your side one shoulder, bend your side two arm and let your fingertips rest on the top of your, the head of your arm bone in your shoulder socket. So you're bringing your side two fingers to your side one shoulder, if you can. If that doesn't work for you, then you can just do this with your awareness. You can put a pillow under your, or you probably have your arm so far across your body that your chest may be a good support. And then your arm that is long, your side one long, rest on your pinky side of your hand. And then as you're ready, from your hand, turn your palm towards the floor and let that movement travel up through your lower arm into your upper arm, and see if you can notice the movement of the head of your arm bone in your shoulder socket. And then lift your palm away from the floor, coming back to rest on your pinky. And then try the opposite direction. So turn your palm open towards the ceiling and see if you can feel that movement travel all the way from your fingers up into your shoulder joint. And then again, go back and forth just a couple of times. Can be very small. Doesn't have to be a big movement. Good. You're keeping the movement in your shoulder joint, but remember that picture of the our scapula and how the head of our arm bone actually fits into the side of our shoulder blade. So as you move your arm, start to notice if you feel the tiniest hint of your shoulder blade moving. So as you roll, as you take your palm towards the floor, you might even allow your arm to continue to rotate inward so that the back of your palm faces your hip. Maybe now, can you feel your shoulder blade peel away from the floor? And then slowly release. And then try the opposite. Turn your palm to face up. If it's comfortable, continue letting your palm roll open. Now notice, not only is the head of your arm moving, but your shoulder blade is moving in towards your spine. So there's that intimate connection between the top of your arm bone and your shoulder blade. Good. And then rest. You can take your hand away from your side one shoulder. When you're ready, bring your side one fingers to your side two shoulder. And you take the same exploration. So first, finding this movement, starting from your hand of turning your palm down towards the floor, and then letting your palm turn up, but keeping it to begin in your shoulder joint. Notice whether one of these movements seems easier to you, whether you're more or less organized on this side. And then when you're ready, you can begin to really notice the connection between the head of your arm bone, the humerus, and your shoulder blade. So as you rotate your palm open, perhaps you can sense how your shoulder blade glides in towards your spine. And as you turn your palm down, you might even let the back of your hand turn towards your hip if that's comfortable. Notice how your shoulder blade peels away from your spine. And then finish the one that you're on. And let's turn it now into a pandiculation. So you'll work with both shoulders at the same time. Let your arms come down by your sides if that's comfortable. Knees can be bent or straight. Take a nice, easy breath in. As you exhale, roll both of your hands in, letting the top of your shoulder at the joint, let your arms roll in, feel both of your shoulders peel away from the floor. Notice the contraction across your upper chest, and then very slowly release, letting your shoulders melt down onto the floor. Let's go in the same direction again. So this is internal rotation or medial rotation at your shoulder joint. Be gentle and tender. Slowly release. When your shoulders have released to the floor, try the opposite movement. So now turn your palms to face up. Now you're doing lateral rotation or external rotation at your shoulder joint. Feel your shoulder blades come together. And then slowly release. And then try that movement one more time. Turning your palms open from your fingertips. Feel that connection all the way up into your shoulder joint and then into your scapula. Feel the muscles between your shoulder blades contract and then slowly release. Good. Come to rest. Take a moment to sense and feel before you find a full body expression of this movement. So when you're ready, bend your knees if your legs are straight, and you're going to find arching and flattening with external and internal rotation at your shoulder joint. So take a nice, easy breath in and out. On your next in-breath, as you tip your pelvis forward, turn your palms up, externally rotate in your shoulder joint, and feel your shoulder blades come together on your back. With your exhale, release your shoulders and release your arch. Take a breath in on your exhale now. As you flatten, internally rotate. Your palms are going to turn down. The head of your arm bone is going to roll into your shoulder socket. Your shoulder blades peel away. And then release that internal rotation as you release your flatten. Good. I'm going to go one more time, and you're welcome if you want to. As you inhale and arch, you can let your knees separate a little bit so that you get external rotation at your hip joint as you also take external rotation in your shoulder joint. So your knees are going to come out to the sides just a little bit, and then release and bring everything back to neutral. And then this time, as you take your flatten and your shoulders roll in, maybe you want to let your knees come together and feel that contraction pattern all along the insides of your thighs, through your abdomen, up into your chest. And then release. And then rest for a moment. Notice sensation. Notice how those movements that you just did, what do you sense and feel now? How are they reverberating through your soma? When you're ready, make your way again onto your side to side. So take some support underneath your head. You're going to come into the straight back chair position. And now you'll explore rotation in your shoulder blade. So when you're lying on your side, you're going to bend your top arm and let your fingertips come to rest at your shoulder, if that's comfortable for you. You could do this with a straight arm, but if you work with a straight arm, it's a much bigger lever, and that can be sometimes a little bit more challenging in your shoulder joint. So with your fingertips resting on your side one shoulder and your elbow down by your waist, take a breath in and lift your elbow up towards the ceiling only as far as is comfortable. It might come all the way up to your head, depending on your range of motion. Now you're rotating your shoulder blade upwards. And now, as you exhale, bring your elbow back down towards your waist. And now you are rotating your shoulder blade downwards. And we're going to put this together with our side curl. So to begin, take a nice breath in and let your top elbow come up towards the ceiling. Pause at any place that's comfortable for you. You can bring your elbow all the way up towards your head if that's comfortable. You're going to take a breath in. As you exhale, bring your elbow down and bring your armpit and your hip on your top side closer together. So your knees will stay together. Your top foot may lift away from your bottom foot. And you're combining contraction through your waist with this downward rotation of your shoulder blade. With your inhale, release, letting your waist lengthen, bringing your elbow back up towards your starting position. If you're doing this on your back, what you want to do is try to bring your elbow, keep your elbow on the floor, and let your elbow come down towards your waist. And then your elbow will glide along the floor up towards your head. That's right. This time, as you take your side curl, let your elbow come slightly behind you. If you're lying on your side, as you take your curl, and notice you may feel more contraction in the back of your body. If your head is lifting away, you may want to support your head with your bottom hand. Inhale and release. And then the next time you take your curl, let your elbow come more in front of your waist. So as you bring your armpit and your hip closer together and you rotate your shoulder blade down, Let your elbow come slightly forward and notice maybe more contraction in the front of your body. And then slowly release and rest. Again, pause, notice sensation. And then when you're ready, again, roll onto your back, please. And as you come onto your back, again, notice what you're sensing through your side, one shoulder and waist. How does it compare to what you feel on your side to side? When you are ready, please roll on to your side, one side, and we're going to repeat the side curl with upward and downward rotation of your shoulder blade. So to begin, if it's comfortable, bend your elbow, top arm, let your fingertips come to your shoulder. And then if it's comfortable, you can start with your elbow down by your side. When you take your next breath in, let your elbow come up towards the ceiling, even maybe towards your head, depending on your range of motion. Here's your upward rotation. As you exhale, let your elbow come down towards your waist. Yeah, just straight down. And then again, on your in-breath, let your elbow come up, whatever amount is comfortable. Any amount that you do, you're already beginning that upward rotation. This time you're going to add your side curl. So as you exhale and bring your elbow down, bring your armpit and your hip closer together. Your knees can stay together. Your top foot will lift. Slowly release. You're going to repeat this movement 2 more times. On your next repetition, let your elbow come slightly behind you as you take your side curl, and notice how does that change the contraction that you feel. And then on your third repetition, let your elbow come in front of your waist as you take your side curl. Your head doesn't even have to lift away from your support. If it does, you can take your bottom hand and support your head. Good. And then finish the one that you're on. And come and rest on your back. Again, notice what you're sensing and feeling, how your 2 shoulder blades are resting on the floor. Notice your breath in your torso. Notice what you sense from your shoulders down through your rib cage to your hips. Maybe you've created a little bit more length through your sideways so that your breath is perhaps a little fuller. Maybe. And then, oh, time flies when we're having fun. So we'll do one more movement on the floor, and then I want to be able to get you up to be able to stand up and explore some things in standing for full body movement. So bend your knees one more time. Take your arms out to the side in a T shape if that's comfortable. And then you're going to bend your elbows so that your forearms and your fingertips are pointing up towards the ceiling. So it's kind of like a goalpost position, and your palms are going to face down towards your feet. Bring your attention so your elbows are bent and your fingertips are pointing towards the ceiling, and your palms are facing down towards your hips. Come to your side, one shoulder, Take a nice easy breath in. When you exhale, bring the palm of your side one hand down towards the floor, towards your hip. And notice what your shoulder blade does in response. Can you feel how it pulls away? And then come back up to your starting position. Same thing with side one. This time, though, take the back of your palm down to the floor by your head. Still on your side, one side. Notice maybe how your shoulder blade presses down into the floor. Good. Then come to your side, two sides. So your elbows are staying bent, and you're going to bring the palm of your side two arm down towards the floor, only as far as is comfortable. Feel your shoulder blade peel away from the floor. Let your fingertips come back up. Now take the back of your side two hand down towards the floor by your head, back behind you. Feel how your shoulder blade presses into the floor. Good. Bring both fingertips as you're ready back up towards the ceiling. Now let your side one hand come down towards your waist. So your elbows are still on the floor and your elbows are bent. You're bringing your side one palm down and let your side two back of your hand come towards the floor behind you. So you're doing opposite movements. And then switch so that you bring your side two palm down towards the floor, your side one palm back behind you. Notice the shift in weightedness in your shoulders. Good. And then when you come back up to your starting position, let your arms rest for a moment. You can let them straighten on the floor. Let your tension come down to your pelvis. And let your weight come into the right half of your pelvis. And then bring the weight of your pelvis back across your sacrum so that you come to neutral. And then shift the weight of your pelvis into the left half of your pelvis. Notice that as you do that, the right half of your pelvis pulls away from the floor. It's the very beginning of a twist. And go back and forth maybe one or two more times. Bringing your weight into one half of your pelvis and then into the other. Good. Come on back to neutral. Come back into that goalpost position with your arms. So your arms are out in a T, your elbows are bent, your fingertips are up towards the ceiling with your palms facing down towards your feet. All right, we're going to put it all together. It's a variation of our washcloth. Bring your side one palm towards the floor. Feel how your side one hip gets a little heavier. Let your knees go towards your side one hand. Let your head turn towards your side two arm and let your side two hand come back to the floor behind you. And then slowly bring everything back up to neutral. And now let your side two palm come down towards the floor. So as your shoulder pulls away, weight goes into your pelvis on that side. Let your knees move towards your side two hand. Let your head turn towards your side one. Let your side one arm come down to the floor behind you. And then come back up to your starting position. And then let everything rest. It's a nice variation that you can play with in your own practice. Take a moment to sense and feel. Let your legs straighten if that's comfortable for you. Bring your arms down by your sides. And let's take a full body arch and flatten. If it's comfortable for you, as you inhale, let both arms come away from the floor up towards the ceiling and overhead, but only if that's comfortable. So lift your arms only as far as is comfortable. You can point your toes as you do this if your legs are long. And then on your exhale, release your arms down by your side, release the pointing of your toes, release your arch. Now, With your palms on the floor, take a nice breath in. As you exhale, contract your belly, flex at your ankles, press your hands into the floor. Feel the contraction across the whole of the front of your body. Inhale and release. And then one more time. On your in-breath, let your arms lift away from the floor as you arch your low back, point your toes. Feel that arch through the whole of your back. Only go as far as is comfortable. Exhale, release your arms back down by your side. Release your feet. Take a nice breath in. On your exhale, flex through your ankles, toes towards your nose. Press your hands into the floor. Contract your belly. And then slowly release. Take a moment here and breathe. You're going to slowly make your way to a comfortable seated position. You can sit on the floor if that's comfortable for you. If you have your chair handy, you can sit on your chair. If you decide to sit on the floor, take some support underneath your pelvis so that your knees are slightly below your hips, and you may be able to find more of the natural curve of your low back as you do that. Once you come to sit, let your arms rest down by your sides. Close your eyes. You could do this in standing too if you wanted to. You don't even have to sit. But close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. And as you breathe now, so we've really been working all through this class with the movements of your shoulder girdle on your rib cage. Now, pay attention to the movement of your rib cage when you breathe. Feel as you take your breath in, expansion. And as you exhale, feel that slight condensing. And now notice when you breathe in, can you feel your shoulder girdle riding on the movement of your rib cage? And as you exhale, can you feel that movement? So you might notice the tiniest bit of external rotation when you breathe in, a hint of your shoulder blades coming together, and a tiny hint of internal rotation at your shoulder joint and your shoulder blades pulling away from your spine as you exhale. See what you notice. Good. And then we're going to do one last thing here. So when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes, and you're going to make your way. You actually can do this in the seated position that you're in, or you can come up to stand. I'm actually going to stand so that you can see me. This is just something very practical that to end with here. So one of the things that I notice with many of my clients is that a lot of them have this tendency for their shoulders to be slightly elevated. And if they have desk, they sit at a desk, their shoulders are slightly rotated forward. And often they'll say to me that when they try to lift their arms up, they get this sense of pinching in their shoulder joint. So here's something that you can do to help alleviate that if that happens for you. Take your side two hand and bring it to rest, not on the top of your shoulder, but kind of right where the head of your arm bone sits. And then you're going to let the weight of your hand sit there. And let me move back just a tiny bit so you can see me. Let your long arm bend a little bit here. And then in that position, you're going to gently internally and externally rotate your arm with the weight of your hand at your shoulder joint. So almost like the weight of your hand is encouraging your shoulder joint, the head of your arm bone to drop. And then finish that movement. Now, when you lift your arm up, and it doesn't matter whether you bring it forward or out to the side, but as you start to lift that arm up, turn your palm to face up. And just notice if that gives you a little more freedom of movement in your shoulder joint. And then slowly let your arm come down. You can let your palm turn down as your arm comes down. So when you externally rotate your arm as you lift it, you're drawing the head of your arm bone down and decreasing that kind of bunching up that we can get under your acromion. Good. And then let that rest for a moment. You're going to take your side one hand, bring it to your side two shoulder. And again, bend your elbow a little bit. Your arm will be a little bit away from your body. You're going to let the weight of your hand sit right here at the top of your arm as you internally and externally rotate. And then when you're ready, let your arm release. And as you take your arm up, side to arm, externally rotate so that your palm turns up. And notice whether that gives you a little more freedom of movement. And then slowly let your arm come down. And then you can take that one more time. Beautiful, everybody. And then we have sadly come to the end of our time. There were so many more interesting things I was hoping we could do. But, you know, what can you do? We do what we can. Take a moment and just notice how you're feeling. You could take a little walk around your space just before Susan comes back on and just notice whether you have, we didn't walk when we began, but do you have a little more sense of freedom in your shoulder girdle? Thank you so very much for your kind attention today, for your beautiful focus practices. I'm going to turn things back to Susan. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Let me